So it is now day 2 of Master Duel's major content update, and even after just only 2 days, it's pretty safe to say we've got ourselves a brand new meta contender, and no, I'm not just talking about DPE. I'm of course talking about the brand new art type, Punk. I mean, it could be, it's not like anyone watching this video is ever going to test the art type to find out. What would you guys say about a deck that contains a 1-card, double synchro summon of 2 giant negate monsters that's searchable via 2 separate cards in the deck? That would be pretty damn broken, right? It's not like Konami would ever actually consider releasing something like that. Yeah, welcome to Swordsoul. So here's today's deck list. Now just a reminder before I go through the list, if you're enjoying today's content, want to see more content like this, or just find it useful in any way, make sure to let me know by leaving a like on today's video and considering subscribing to the channel down below. I do plan to make more content on this new update, including Despia stuff and maybe some new fusion decks ready for the new fusion event, so if you're interested in any of that stuff, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out. Alright, let's get into the deck list. So this deck list is built around a bunch of level 8 and level 10 synchro monsters, all with various effects. You have negating, you have more negating, you have even more negating, and occasionally a little bit of banishing in there too. And to get these guys out in this deck list is extremely easy, as you have 2 little packages to do so. You have the TENYI and you have the Swordsoul, both of which are very good at summoning level 8 and level 10 synchro monsters. The Swordsoul side of the deck is built around Mo. Mo is a card that as long as you have a worm monster in hand, you can reveal that monster, summon a token, then instantly you have yourself a 1-card Swordsoul Grandmaster. I actually can't pronounce this card's name, but it's a nice little card with a negate on it that also searches for your level 6 extender, which then turns into a level 10. So already, just from 1 card, you have a level 8 negate and a level 10 Omni negate. And the thing is, you can do this most duels if you want to, as you can just search for Mo via your Ecclesia, or even search it via your Emergence. So that's 9 cards in your deck that can turn into a 1-card synchro combo. The other side of the deck is the TENYI side. Now the TENYI side is a little bit more complex, but you'll see it during the gameplay. All you need to do is get out your level 7 monsters, combine them with your level 1 tuner monster, and all of a sudden you have the same level 8 as the previous combo, go into the same level 6, and end on a level 10 monster. It's a little bit different though, because you are locked into worm monsters when you're using the TENYI stuff, meaning instead of ending on something like a Baron de Fleur, you'll end on your other big Swordsoul boss monster instead, which just banishes some cards. Alright guys, that's going to do it for the decklist portion of the video. Let's get into the gameplay. Alright, let's get into the replays. So today I have 4 replays to show you guys, all of which showcasing different combos and different starts for the deck, as the deck does have very similar end boards, but how it gets to them can differ quite a bit, and sometimes you just end on just completely different monsters. So alright, let's get into it. So this replay is showcasing the very standard Mo start. So first thing we're going to do, normal summon Mo. Mo can then reveal a Swordsoul or a worm monster in hand, then summon a tuner to the board. Or a token. Level 4 tuner token, so they can synchro summon straight into our level 8. Our level 8 has 2 effects. One is a quick effect to negate, which you'll see in some of the later duels, or maybe even this one, but you can't use both effects during the same turn. So if you use the quick effect to negate, you can't use the search effect, which we're about to use, which on summon we're going to search for a Swordsoul card straight from the deck. Also when Mo's uses material, it can then draw a card. Searching for our level 6, which is the card you're normally going to be searching for. This card can discard a worm monster to special summon itself, and summon a token. And synchro summoning straight into Baron de Fleur. Doing a little bit of damage when he's using material. Swordsoul Emergence, when you have a synchro monster on board, can either search for a Swordsoul card, or it can search for a worm monster. In this case we searched for Protos. Protos can special summon itself by banishing 3 cards in the graveyard with different attributes. So in this case we have our Vessel for the Dragon, which sends one of our worm monsters to the grave, and we're doing this turn just because we want to, because normally you use this as a searcher card for your worm stuff, but in this case I just want different attributes in the grave, so I have enough for our Protos. Protos summons itself out, and Protos' effect allows it to destroy 1 monster on board, destroy everything of that attribute on the board, and then your opponent until the end of the next end phase cannot summon anything of that attribute. This card's also immune to destruction effects, so it can target itself, destroy all dark monsters on board, and then your opponent cannot summon any dark monsters until the end of the next end phase. And we set a call by the grave. In this case though, our opponent actually had a Kaiju, so that gets rid of one of our annoying cards, and then also had, yeah, the Storm that nuked my board. But thankfully I have a Call by the Grave, so even though my opponent had all this stuff, it actually didn't matter. Very scary though, this guy was playing a hella going second version of Dino. Yeah, so I'm not really sure my deck had a lot of impact on that, it was just he got called by the Grave, but I just wanted to show off that particular start, so. Alright, next replay. So I'm not really sure what the rest of the replays are or what order they're in, but they are all showing some pretty different starts, I believe. Alright, so you're going to see a TENYI start this time. So our opponent was playing Swordsoul. Bit of a mirror match going on. Opponent activates Ash Blossom, getting the stuff. I activated Maxx instantly here because TENYIs just kind of special summon themselves from hand, and I don't think you get a chance to summon Maxx. Or if you do, I don't think it really matters. This dude had Ash Blossom anyway. Or Called by the Brave, whichever one he had. Summons out his Mo. Goes for a Blackout. Summons a token. Oh, well, reveals it's the Blackout. Summons to level 8, draws a card. Similar stuff to what you just saw, searching level 6, makes level 10. Unfortunately, for some reason he hasn't summoned Defleur here. I don't think he was even locked out of it, but for some reason he summons this instead. Whatever. Alright. So first thing we're going to use our TENYI Spirit because we control no effect monsters on board. We can special summon it from hand. We can then link it off to summon out our Monk of the TENYI. Activate our Vessel, sending our, same with this card, Ashuna to the graveyard to search for our Vishuda. This card, when you control no effect monsters, or when you control a Monk dude, can discard himself to then return one of my opponent's cards to the hand. I think it's returned to hand. It might be sent to the graveyard. No, it is returned to hand. So I can discard him or banish him to return this card straight to the hand. Banish from the graveyard to add this card back to hand. And now we can use it to special summon itself because we control no effect monsters still. And our Ashuna and Grave can special summon the level 1 monster straight from the deck. And from there we could have summoned the level 8 if our opponent didn't respond with a Blackout and nuke my board. We're going to summon another TENYI with the remaining monster we had. Then go straight into a Taia. Taia can banish one of our worm monsters in graveyard to spawn a token. And go straight into our level 8 again. Now normally from here, you'd search for level 6 and then go for the same combo again as you saw earlier, but in this case, I actually don't have another worm monster in hand for this effect, so I kinda can't do that. Taia, when sent to the graveyard, can send a worm monster straight from deck to grave. Normally you can kinda get around this by banishing your level 1 monster to add one of your worm monsters back to hand, but I've already used that effect this turn, so yeah. In this case, I just search for a Blackout and set the Blackout. If you don't know what Blackout does, you just saw it, my opponent use it then. We can tribute one of our cards, destroy 2 things on board. Or destroy one of our cards, I think, actually. Summons out his Swordsoul of Taia. We're going to be activating our effect to negate it. But he already got off the token summoned from the trap card instead, which we can then nuke with the Blackout. And from here, I think my opponent... Oh no, my opponent has an Ash Blossom for my monster. Because if you don't know what this card does, normally when you summon Ecclesia, you contribute it, special summon out one of your Swordsoul straight from the deck. Unfortunately, your opponent has Ash Blossom, so it doesn't even matter. Yeah, I think the remainder of this duel is fairly like, nothing really happens. Sets a card. You get a TENYI. TENYI, we're going to summon out our monster again. Now that we have a normal monster on the field, we can use our Dude in Grave, banish him to return a card to hand again. And special summon a monster straight to the board. Oh, sorry, add this card back to hand first. Fortunately, we can't special summon it though, because we control an effect monster, so it's just kind of sitting there for now. And Ashuna can summon out a TENYI straight from the deck, but our opponent already conceded. Alright, game 3. Alright. So that was one of the more, that wasn't even the spiciest replay we've got. We've got a really interesting one coming up. I think it's this one. Oh yeah, it was definitely this one. I think. Alright, so this was a bit of a weird game. So our opponent was playing Tri-Brigade. And he opened kind of strangely, so I was like, oh. Interesting. So it meant that I had to open strangely to try to match it. So normally they end on at least one linked monster already. But this guy ended only on the level 3, and then tried to like bank on only the trap card. The Tri-Brigade trap card, the Revolt. Which was kind of strange, because it meant that I actually had a way to try to counter this. So I'm going to use summon my boy, because I have no effect monsters. Link summon out straight to TENYI. Summon out my Swordsoul of Mo. Reveal the Blackout, summon a token. And this time, instead of going into the standard level 8, because for some reason he still didn't activate the trap card yet, I'm not sure if he's scared of something, so he didn't even activate his trap card yet, I can go straight into my Adamancipator Risen, which is a negate for any spell and trap cards, and now he's just kind of screwed because he can't use his only way of summoning his boss monster out. So I kind of just play the game as much as I like. I activate my dude's effect, which is activate the top card, look for a rock, and then return cards your opponent controls equal to the amount of rocks you reveal, I believe. I think we've only got Nibiru in the deck, so there's not a whole lot of point in using that, but sometimes you'll hit Nibiru. Go to battle phase, set a trillion cards, and pass the turn. Opponent again going to be searching for some Tri-Brigade stuff. I'm going to call by the grave that. No Fractal for you. Summons out here's Duel. We're going to destroy that and destroy the trap card, which we knew was a Revolt already, which we can just negate instantly, so. Yeah, you should have activated this trap card before I summoned this card out, but I think he just expected me to go into the standard combo this deck does, and he didn't kind of realize I could go into this. Oh, this card actually, when one of your normal monsters is destroyed, can special summon itself back to the board. Or special summon back the normal monster that's destroyed by banishing itself from grave. Doesn't really do a whole lot, but yeah. He adds a card to hand that I know can special summon itself, so I activate my Maxx. In this case, I don't think he could even have done it. He must have not had another Beast Warrior in hand, or he was... Yeah, he just must have another Beast Warrior in hand, or he was scared of the Maxx, which... Since we have Crossout, we can negate his Ash Blossom, so the Maxx does resolve. Maybe he didn't want to let me draw too many cards, so he didn't actually summon it. Uses his Fusion Destiny. Wow, exciting card, that one. Oh my god, is that Destiny Hero? Now this deck has a really nasty counter to Destroy Phoenix. As the one, it's actually the same counter you would have saw in the first duel, which we summoned then. So we're going to search for our Ecclesia. His monster comes back. I didn't search for it, so we just drew it. We go straight to the battle phase, swing into his monster because I don't want him to be destroying any of these cards or any of my future plays, so we just get it to get off the board immediately. We don't particularly care about lethal him here, we just want to set up a nice board. So summon out Taia from deck, which then banishes a card to summon a token. In this case, we banish the trap card, so we can summon a second token. Summon our level 8, and this time our level 8 is not going to be searching for the level 6 like normal. So normally you search for level 6, but in this case, because I have other plans this turn for the worm monster, I don't want to discard it, I'm just going to search for a card for next turn. In this turn I'm going to use Emergence, search for our Protos. Ashuna can special summon out the Dark Monster, which, in hindsight, this was a mistake. I should have done this after summoning Protos. I kind of forgot that Protos nukes your own board as well, so it's a bit awkward. Anyway, summon Protos, targeting itself to destroy all Dark Monsters on the board. I didn't even target itself, just selected Dark. And destroyed my own card. but it also meant that his Destroyer Phoenix cannot resummon itself because I just stopped him from special summoning dark monsters. Alright, final replay. Alright. And this is going to be showcasing a different start, well, not entirely, but another version of the start. This is going to be showing off how to make it so your opponent can't summon light monsters at all, or can't use light monster effects, sorry. So no monsters on board, so we can summon out our Ashuna. Summon out Monk. No effect monsters, so we can summon out the level 7. Banish from Graveyard, summon out level 1. Use our Vessel of the Dragons to send one and add one. Adding the Adhara. Going straight into our Zing. The Zing monster can return a bunch of my opponent's stuff to hand, but in this case we're not doing any of that. Shuffle stuff into the deck, but in this case we're not doing any of that. We're using his other effect, which destroys the Monk on the board. To then bring back the level 1 monster we just used. So we can go into a level 9. Bringing out our Chaofeng. Now Chaofeng, because I used this Zing as material, this light monster, my opponent can now no longer use light monster effects. I can search for our Swordsoul of Mo Ye, reveal the card, summon a token. Activate this guy's effect, add the card back to hand, whilst we still have a normal monster on the board. Because you can only use these guys' effects in Graveyard when there is a normal monster on the board, which includes tokens. So whilst we still have the token on board, I'm going to do my adding to hand now. Then we go into our Chow, or our... Sorry, I still don't know how to pronounce this card's name. Draw a card, and then we're going to search for a card as well. Searching for the Strategist. Discarding the other guy, sorry. Then going into a level 10. Unfortunately, because we used our TENYIs this turn, we are locked into only worm monsters. So instead of summoning Baron, we go into Supreme. And that's your end board. So hopefully my opponent was playing a light deck, otherwise it doesn't really do a whole lot. It kind of stops Nibiru occasionally, but it doesn't really do a whole lot. So these Bigfoots, we activate our Maxx in response. And I think he wasn't a fan of the Maxx because I reckon... Oh, it destroys my Chaofeng. Now when Chaofeng is destroyed, you can add tune a monster straight to hand. So you can actually just add an Ash Blossom if you want one. So I was going to add an Ash Blossom here. And my opponent just conceded because I think he just doesn't like Maxx very much. Alright guys, that's going to do it for today's replays. I hope you guys enjoyed them. If you did, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. Remember, I will be making some future videos very shortly on the Fusion Festival and maybe some Despia stuff as well. So if you're interested in that stuff, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. Laters.
Hey, big brother, can I watch SpongeBob?
Shut up, Mokuba. I'm busy flagging YouTube videos to compensate for the fact that I have an extremely small penis.
Oh.